All right, ever find yourself looking up at a skyscraper, walking across a bridge, even just buckling into your car and wondering, how does it all stay together?
It's pretty amazing when you think about the massive steel structures that make up so much of our world.
Right. Talk about feats of engineering.
Absolutely.
Well, today we're doing a deep dive into the unsung heroes behind those feats, the hydraulic forging press workers.
Yeah,
You sent over a bunch of excerpts from RoleCatcher, which, by the way, is a goldmine of career info if anyone out there is looking.
definitely a great resource.
Seems like you're interested in maybe stepping into this world, working with some serious metal power, so to speak.
It's a fascinating field, and you know what I find most people don't realize? The precision involved.
Really? I'll admit, when I hear hydraulic forging press, I think brute force.
There's definitely power involved, no doubt.
Yeah.
But it's not just about that. These workers, they're like the architects of the metal world, shaping metal with incredible accuracy, using these massive hydraulic presses to create, well, the building blocks of countless industries, really.
So less blacksmith hammering away, more like orchestrating a metal symphony with a hydraulic press.
Haha, I like that. You're getting the picture. Think of a press taller than a house equipped with custom-made dies, like giant heavy-duty cookie cutters, you know?
Okay, I'm starting to see it.
Each die designed to shape the metal with insane pressure, creating everything from those massive steel beams you see to intricate car parts, even pieces for airplanes.
Wow, that's a far cry from the horseshoes I always pictured.
It's pretty remarkable stuff.
So we're talking about shaping the raw materials that literally hold our world together. RoleCatcher mentions they're essential for, and I'm quoting here, the first processing of steel, which sounds like a pretty important gig.
It's absolutely foundational. Without hydraulic forging press workers, those raw materials wouldn't transform into the countless components we rely on every single day.
Give me an example. What kind of components are we talking about?
Oh, I don't know, the intricate parts inside jet engines, the massive gears that power industrial machinery, it all starts under the immense pressure of a hydraulic forging press.
Wow, it's amazing to think something so essential often goes unnoticed. Like you said, I don't think most people picture the skill and precision involved.
Right. It's an art, really, developed over time. And speaking of time, RoleCatcher does a great job outlining a clear career trajectory in this field, kind of breaking it down into stages. They start with an entry-level hydraulic forging press worker.
So you don't just jump right into operating these massive machines.
Not quite. Think of it more like an apprenticeship. They start by assisting with setups, learning the ropes under the guidance of really experienced workers, you know?
Getting those hands-on fundamentals down.
Exactly. And understanding the safety protocols, which are absolutely crucial in this line of work.
I can imagine. One small mistake with that kind of pressure could be disastrous.
Absolutely. That's why that initial phase is so important. RoleCatcher really emphasizes the importance of attention to detail, even at this early stage. Learning to inspect work pieces, understand the properties of different metals, it all builds up to becoming successful as a hydraulic forging press worker.
So they're not just building muscles during this stage, they're building a solid foundation of knowledge, too. What comes next on this career ladder?
So once they've honed those skills, proven their commitment to safety, they typically move up to junior hydraulic forging press worker.
Okay, so now we're talking more responsibility.
Exactly. This is where they begin to operate the presses more independently, to troubleshoot minor issues, even start to really develop those problem-solving skills.
So they need to be able to think on their feet a bit more.
Exactly. In fact, RoleCatcher provides this sample profile, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it says something like, a skilled and dedicated hydraulic forging press worker with experience setting up and operating hydraulic presses to shape various ferrous and non-ferrous metalwork pieces.
I like how RoleCatcher adds that human element. It's not just a job title on a page. It's like, okay, I can picture the skills, the experience. There's a real person behind each of those forged pieces we see every day.
Absolutely. And that personal touch is something that often gets lost, especially when we're talking about manufacturing jobs, you know. But it's crucial to remember these are highly skilled individuals who contribute to, well, building our world in ways we often take for granted.
So they've mastered the basics. They're starting to take on more responsibility. What does it take to reach the top of the forging game? What's the next rung?
This is where things get really interesting. We're talking senior hydraulic forging press worker now. These are the folks who've not only mastered those technical skills, but really honed those leadership and problem-solving abilities.
So not just shaping metal, but shaping the future of the field.
Exactly. They might be identifying areas for improvement, maybe suggesting new die designs, even collaborating on developing entirely new forging techniques. RoleCatcher really highlights the impact they can have.
From apprentice to innovator, that's quite a journey. But it makes sense when you consider the level of expertise involved. Okay, so let's say someone's listening to this thinking, this sounds like my kind of challenge. What are the essential skills and knowledge they need to thrive as a hydraulic forging press worker?
It's a fantastic career path, and you've already touched on some key points. Obviously, a strong understanding of hydraulic systems is absolutely crucial. Knowing how these powerful presses work, how to troubleshoot any issues that come up, and of course, how to operate them safely, that's paramount.
And I imagine knowing your way around different metals is key too.
Absolutely. Remember those ferrous and non-ferrous metals we mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
Each one behaves differently under pressure and heat. So like forging aluminum, for example, that requires a different temperature and pressure than steel. It's got a lower melting point, and it's more malleable. Understanding those nuances is, well, it's crucial for a hydraulic forging press worker.
It's like being a chef who knows the difference between baking a delicate souffle and searing a steak. But instead of a kitchen, you're working with, molten metal and massive machinery.
Now you're getting it. And just like in a professional kitchen, safety is absolutely paramount. We're talking about an environment with heavy machinery, extreme heat, molten metal RoleCatcher. Definitely doesn't shy away from highlighting the inherent risks.
It takes a certain kind of person to not only handle the pressure, literally, but also to stay focused and alert in that kind of environment day in and day out.
Exactly. Attention to detail that's non-negotiable. One small miscalculation, one moment of inattention, and, well, it could have some serious consequences. So alongside the technical skills, those soft skills, they're just as vital in this role.
Okay, so we're talking teamwork, communication, problem solving. Those are important in almost any job, but I can see how they'd be absolutely critical in a fast-paced, high-stakes environment like that.
Absolutely. Imagine a team working together to forge a massive component. They need to be communicating clearly, coordinating their movements precisely, and always ready to adapt if something unexpected happens.
Let's say a perfectly choreographed dance, but with a lot more heavy metal.
Exactly. And that brings us to another crucial skill, problem solving. What happens if a die isn't aligning properly, or a piece of metal isn't heating evenly? A skilled hydraulic forging press worker, they can quickly assess that situation, identify the root cause, and, implement a solution, often working collaboratively with their team.
So not just following instructions, but thinking critically and adapting on the fly. I'm starting to realize this job is way more complex than it might seem at first glance.
Yeah.
It's that unique combination of technical know-how, mental agility, and that willingness to collaborate and solve problems as a team.
You got it. It's a demanding field, but for those who are drawn to that hands-on work, who enjoy the challenge of mastering complex machinery and take pride in creating something tangible, it can be an incredibly rewarding career path.
And speaking of rewarding, RoleCatcher does mention the potential for high earning and job security, right? But before we get to that, I know one thing that might be on our listeners' mind is the interview process. How do you convince a hiring manager that you're the right person to handle the heat, so to speak?
That's where RoleCatcher really shines. Their interview prep section, it's like having a secret weapon. They've got this massive database of tailored interview questions and even, get this, AI-powered feedback to help you craft those perfect answers.
It's like having a personal interview coach in your pocket. All right, let's fire up those imaginary forging presses and dive into some sample interview questions. Let's say you're sitting across from the hiring manager. What kind of curveballs might they throw your way, and how do you knock it out of the park?
The most common one is describe your experience working with hydraulic forging presses. Now, don't be thrown if you're just starting out. The key here is to focus on any relevant experience, even if it's from a related field or a training program, Highlight that eagerness to learn, your passion for the industry. Show them you're a fast learner and, eager to get your hands dirty, so to speak.
So enthusiasm and a genuine interest in the work go a long way.
Absolutely. Now, here's one that might make someone sweat a little. What is your experience with forging different metals?
Okay, that one sounds like it requires some specific knowledge.
It does. But even if you've only worked with one or two types of metal, use this as an opportunity to show that you understand the basic principles. You could say something like, while my experience is primarily with steel, I understand that different metals have different properties that affect the forging process. I'm eager to learn more about forging aluminum and other materials.
Show them you're not just a one-trick pony. You're ready to expand that skill set.
Uh,
I like it. Okay, give me another one. What else might they ask?
they might ask something about quality control.
Okay.
Like, how do you ensure the quality of the forged parts?
Good question.
This is where that attention to detail really comes in. Talk about the importance of inspecting the raw materials, using those precise measuring tools, and really understanding the specific requirements for each workpiece.
So it's not just about making the metal hot and hitting it hard.
Yeah.
There's a lot of careful observation, measurement involved.
Exactly. They want to see that you understand that quality is important, at every single step.
Makes sense.
Now, let's maybe shift gears a little bit from acing that interview to, like, the day-to-day realities of the job.
Okay.
We've talked about the demands, the heat, the heavy machinery, the constant need for focused RoleCatcher. They don't sugarcoat those challenges.
It sounds like you need to be pretty tough mentally and physically to handle this kind of work.
That's true, but there's also, a tremendous sense of satisfaction that comes with it.
How so?
Imagine seeing a piece of raw metal transform into this, like, crucial part of an airplane engine or a bridge support. That's the kind of impact you can have as a hydraulic forging press worker.
There's a certain artistry to it, even if it's on a massive, industrial scale.
Exactly. And beyond the personal fulfillment, there are those more tangible rewards. RoleCatcher highlights the high earning potential, job security, that kind of thing.
That's always good to hear.
Right. And, as automation kind of changes that manufacturing landscape, the demand for skilled workers who can operate and maintain these complex systems, that's only going to increase.
So you're not just building a career, you're building a future-proof skill set.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about the potential for growth, too. You could move into training and mentoring roles, maybe specialize in a particular type of forging, or even work your way up to, a supervisory position.
From operating the press to overseeing an entire team, that's really impressive.
Yeah.
So for our listener who's been, with us this whole time, soaking it all in, what's the main takeaway here? What's the one thing they should remember about this world of hydraulic forging press work?
It's challenging, absolutely. But it's rewarding, and it's got a bright future. If you're looking for a career where you can build something tangible, use your skills and knowledge to make a real impact, and, secure a good living while you're at it, this path is definitely worth exploring.
And with resources like RoleCatcher, they don't have to navigate the journey alone. They've got the tools, they've got the insights to guide them every step of the way.
For sure.
Well, that just about wraps up our deep dive into the world of hydraulic forging press workers. Talk about a powerful career path. From the heat of the forge to those essential components we rely on every day, it's been a fascinating look at a career that's often hidden in plain sight.
I agree. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for joining us.